Assalamu alaikum. Very good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Today we are going to become familiar with the third important prohibition uh, in Islam, which is as far as Islamic finance is concerned. So the first one that we discussed is interest. The second one, the riba, or the second one is gharar, and the third one is maisir. Maisir is an Arabic word which uh, which has been driven from a word yusr. Yusr means ease. There is a verse in Quran, "Inna ma'al usri yusra." With every difficulty, there will be ease. After every difficulty, there will be ease. So the root word of masir is basically ease. In English, we say seeking easy money. Easy money. So basically, when a person goes into a casino, he has this mentality. He does not want to indulge in any economic activity which requires effort, which requires skills, and simply wants to become rich based on games of chance. So that is why the word masir. Masir means seeking easy money. Another related term with masir is qimar. So seeking easy money is a broader term. Masir is a broader term, and qimar is a type of masir. So qimar is a narrower term, and masir is a broader term. Masir means anything shortcuts where a person wants money without making any effort, without making any delivering any service or product like that, and wants to become rich in a very short span of time. So that is known as massive. And Qimar, that can be roughly translated as Jua. That can be roughly translated as Satta or Jua. So Masir and Qimar, Masir is a broader term. All kinds of activity where a person seeks easy money. And Jua is a kind of activity where a person wants to earn easy money, but it's a specific type of easy money. So the words Masir and Qimar are used in the Arabic language identically. Sometimes they are also used in similar meaning. Masir refers to easily available wealth or acquisition of wealth by chance, whether or not it deprives of the others' rights. So sometimes the structure of the game is in such a way that it deprives others of their money, and sometimes the structure is that nobody loses anything, but some people gain. So being a zero sum game is not necessary, but if it is a zero sum game, then zero sum game. Zero sum game means uh, a game in which one person's loss is another person's profit. Understood? So in say for example in business, if two people are engaging in economic activity, in business activity, then both of the parties benefit from that business. It's not that one person's profit is another person's loss. This is not the case. But In Masir and Qimar, sometimes it's a zero-sum game. Zero-sum game means one person's loss is another person's profit. So it's not possible to earn without actually depriving others of their money. Say, for example, futures. In a stock market, we have futures. So in futures is a zero-sum game, because if the stock price is increasing, some people will lose and some other persons will gain. And if similarly, if the stock price is decreasing, then those who have shorted, those who have a short position will benefit, and those who are in the long position will suffer loss. So futures market is a zero-sum game. It's not contributing anything in the economy. It's just transfer of money from one set of group to another set of group. So this kind of games are known as zero-sum games. Zero-sum game means one person's loss is another person's profit. One person's loss is another person's profit, which is not the case in normal business. In normal business, in normal investment, everybody, everybody earns without depriving others of their money. But in Qimar, in Jua, in Satta, in Masir and Qimar, sometimes it happens that one person's loss is another person's profit. So one person cannot, gain without another person incurring loss. So this is how the games are designed. So that is one of the feature of Qimar and Masir. But sometimes there are other. A Qimar may not be designed in such a manner, but mostly it is designed in such a manner that they are zero-sum game. Qimar means the game of chance. One gains at the cost of others. A person puts his money or a part of his wealth at stake, wherein the amount of money at risk might bring huge sums of money or might be lost or damaged. So there is the feature of asymmetry also. Say, for example, let us take the example of lotteries. So in lotteries, every person contributes some little amount of money and expects to become, overnight millionaire. If he becomes very lucky, and in the lucky draw, his tickets or his numbers are drawn. So this is also a kind of Masir. Lottery is also a kind of Masir, because those who participate in lotteries actually expect to become rich overnight without doing any actual effort, without rendering any service or skills, or without actually doing anything. They just buy some tickets with some little amount of money, and they expect to gain disproportionately out of this participation. So that is also, their mentality of seeking easy money. So, and whatever money they are getting, is actually, belongs to others, because it has been collected through, selling of the tickets, and the money will be given to only few persons whose names are, drawn in the lucky draws. So Qimar means the game of chance. One gains at the cost of others. A person puts his money or part of his wealth at stake, wherein the amount of money at risk might bring huge sum of money or might be lost or damaged. While the word used in the Holy Quran for prohibition of gambling and wagering is Masir, कुरान में वो एक ही आयत है जिसमें riba and Masir both are prohibited in single verse. There are other verses also, but there is one verse in which both have been prohibited in a single verse. And it goes like this. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. They are asking you about uh, 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 not riba and maisir, but wine and maisir. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. They are asking you about wine and timar and maisir. يسألونك عن الخمر والميسر قل فيهما اسم كبير. Tell them that there is great sin in them. قل فيهما اسم كبير ومنافع للناس, and there are benefits in them for people. So actually Quran is acknowledging that there is some benefit. There may be some benefit in wine, consumption of wine. And similarly, there may be some benefit in lotteries and maisir and qimar. But then in the following, after saying this, the Quran says, فِيهِمَا وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِسْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. But the sin in them is greater than their benefit. Or some people translate it like that, the disadvantages in them are more than the advantages. We can roughly translate that verse like this. So maisir and qimar both are prohibited, and in Quran it is the word maisir is mentioned, and qimar is a type of maisir. Qimar or jua is a type of easy money. Just I have given you example of lottery also. So lottery is maisir, but it's not qimar. Lottery is maisir because those who are participating in a lottery, they are seeking easy money, but it's not jua, it's not qimar. So qimar is a specific type of maisir. So according to jurists, the difference between maisir and qimar is that the latter is an important kind of the former. Maisir derived from yusr. Yusr, just I have mentioned yusr. The root word of maisir is yusr, which means ease. Maisir derived from yusr means wishing something valuable with ease and without paying an equivalent compensation. एवज, उर्दू में भी ये वर्ड यूज होता है एवज, इसके एवज में आप मुझे क्या देंगे. So without paying an equivalent compensation एवज for it, or without working for it, or without undertaking any liability against it by way of a game of chance. So some of the features, important features that are coming. It's a game of chance. Most of the time it is zero-sum game also. One person's loss is another person's profit. And the most important feature is that it's easy money. People who participate in maisir and qimar actually seek easy money. So qimar also means receipt of money, benefit or usufruct at the cost of others. So qimar involves loss of one person becomes profit of another person. That is qimar. But maisir is a broader term which includes qimar also, but other types like lotteries and other forms of easy money also. So qimar also means receipt of money, benefit or usufruct at the cost of others, having entitlement to that money or benefit by resorting to chance. So chance, the element of chance and probability is also there, and whatever games are there in a casino right now, there are online casinos. When you open YouTube, you get a lot of advertisement for Dream 11. So Dream 11 is also a kind of qimar. It's also a kind of qimar. So they ask the verse goes like this. They ask the concerning wine and gambling. Say, in them is great sin, and some benefits for people. So this is what I was saying, that Quran acknowledges that there are benefits also, but the sin is greater than the benefits. So this is the rough translation of that verse. So a person puts his money at stake wherein the amount being risked might bring huge sums of money or might be lost or damaged. Present day lotteries are also a kind of gambling. So lottery also comes uh, uh, under the broad category of Maisir. So in Webster Dictionary, a lottery has been defined as a distribution of prizes by lots or chance. In practice, a number of forms of lottery are prevalent, some of which might be valid, but the majority are invalid from the Sharia point of view. Sometimes entrepreneurs offer products whereby, when sold for a price, any additional product is given to the purchaser as an incentive without any scheme of drawing or prizes or lots. This is permissible. So, say for example, some of the it's one of the promotion techniques that, say for example, if you buy uh, this product, we will provide you after sale services free of cost for the next 1 year. So this kind of promotion is not massive. It's a kind of promotion, and it's different from massive and Qimar because no drawing is involved, no game of chance is involved. Similarly, however, wherever it is a question of causing loss to some in the drawing of lots with the result that others benefit at the cost of those who lose, it will be prohibited. But if it includes, if the feature of that particular thing is that one person's loss becomes another person's profit, then it will be prohibited and it will come under the category of Maisir and Qimar, because it is very clear that one person's loss is another person's profit, and it is not possible for a person to gain without incurring loss to others. So a lottery in which the incentive provided to the investors is disproportionate prizes distributed by drawing of lots, where a participating person intends to avail themselves of a chance at prizes, is repugnant to the injunctions of Islam. So the person who wins a lottery, actually, that from where that money has come, that money has come from others, uh, especially all those persons who have contributed, who have purchased that lottery tickets. So, so that money is going in the hands of a few persons who have won the lottery. So basically, a lot of persons are losing to make few persons winners. So a lot of people are becoming losers for the sake of few persons who are going to become winners on the basis of games of chance, on the basis of chance, on the basis of lots, draw of lots. So most of the lottery is operated by governments, financial institutions. In India also, there are some states where lotteries are legally allowed. For example, in Goa, there are casinos operated by private business houses also, and in some northeast states also. For example, most of the northeast states, they have a lottery system. The government issues lotteries, but not in all states it's legally allowed, but it happens under the table. For example, I mean, cricket related betting and election related betting. It's common thing in India. So most of the lotteries operated by governments, financial institutions, and NGOs are repugnant to the tenets of Islam. But from the point of view of Sharia, it's not allowed. It's something which is bad, because the incentives provided to the investors are not the profits accruing on the investment, but disproportionate price distributed by drawing of lots. So that money is not coming from any economic activity, not coming from investment and business, but it is actually the money that belongs to other persons, which is being distributed to some people by draw of lots. So basically, it's a zero-sum game. One person's loss is 10% profit. So it is not only un-Islamic, but also against the common norms of morality and sound economic principle. So gambling, no, nobody likes gambling, isn't it? If had gambling been so profitable, तो जो दुनिया के जो बिलियनर्स की लिस्ट है, उसमें कोई ना कोई गैम्बलर भी होता कि नहीं? गैम्बलर छोड़िए, उसमें तो कोई ट्रेडर भी नहीं है. All are, investors. And investment is a serious kind of activity where you take a long position for a very long period of time. And as far as trading is concerned, so there the element of gambling in trading is slightly higher. Although the element of risk is everywhere, but if we talk specifically about trading means, for example, day trading, buying right now and selling after 5 minutes based on charts and different patterns like that. So this is gambling because there is no evidence that any particular strategy, any particular pattern, any particular moving averages like that works, because nothing works. If something works, then actually it's a money making machine. It's a money making machine. If you know that some pattern works, then you will just set a program, a code that will automatically execute and take positions, long positions and short position, buy sell, and you will put some money. And if you are so sure, you can put borrowed money also, and just in few months, few years, you will become billionaire. But somebody may become, but it's a game of chance, because there is no sound theory, there is no sound economic principle, there is no evidence that such kinds of patterns and trading based on charts and volumes, etc. works. So it is such schemes divert the flow of scarce resources from real sector economic activity to games of chance and speculation. So the money which should be diverted to the real economic activities that creates products and services, that solves the problems of the society, that provides new services and brings ease in the lives of the people and makes this world a better world. So instead of going money, instead of being utilized for greater purposes like this, actually goes in the speculation that has no real life impact in the real world. That is also one of the moral dilemmas associated with speculation. In addition to major prohibitions that we discussed, riba, gharar, and massive, one more thing we can add to all these three things. So remember these three things: riba, gharar, and masir. Riba, gharar, and masir. These three things are clearly prohibited. So if Nidal is saying it's a scam, the house always wins. Yes, the house is always winner. The casino owner is always the winner. So Dream 11 is also, everybody loses, the house wins. It's a trap, actually. So apart from, riba, gharar, and masir, Islamic finance is not only about riba, gharar, and masir. There are some more things also. There are some other things also. So all those other things and guidelines can be clubbed together under the broad heading of ethics and norms. Although this is a great debate. I mean, legality and ethics. Something which is legal, but it goes against the ethics and norms, ethics and morality. So, if something is legal, this does not mean it is ethical also. So, similarly, is the case with Islam also, that there are certain things which are clearly prohibited, but things which are not clearly prohibited does not mean, I mean, things which are not haram actually, but uh, from ethics point of view, we have been encouraged to undertake those good things, and we have been encouraged to avoid certain things. So, so there are a lot of guidelines associated with the business also, apart from these three prohibitions. What are those things? So, principles of enunciating justice. Justice is one of the major themes of Islam. So any system that propagates injustice, any transaction that may lead to injustice to any party, is not Sharia-based transaction, Sharia-based business. Similarly, mutual help is, a very good thing. Humans should help each other in everything, in good things. Quran says, "Ta'awanu alal birri wat taqwa." Help each other in good things. In alal birri, neki ke kaam ko kehte hain. Alal birri wat taqwa. Bir basically neki ka kaam. Help each other. Wala ta'awanu alal ismi wal udwan. And don't cooperate with each other in matters which are not good, which are actually the violation of God's command. So in good things, we should cooperate with each other. So cooperation among people, cooperation among people for good causes is a desirable thing. Similarly, consent. There is concept of consent that everybody is independent. Everybody is nobody should force some other person. Nobody can force other person for anything. Everybody, is independent. Free consent. So consent should be free. It should not be forced. So one person cannot force another person for consent. If it's a forced consent, then it's not consent. Consent means free consent, a consent that comes from inside a person. So if somebody is forcing another person under the gun, say yes, agree to this, then it's not actually consent. It's not free consent. And honesty, of course, honesty. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, even those who were against our Prophet, they were used to call him Sadiq and Amin. Sadiq means truth speaker, sacha person, sacha admi. And Amin means amanatdar, which can be translated as roughly honest. So truth and honesty is two biggest ideals that we should strive for, that Islam considers to be the prominent things that one should strive. Truth and honesty. So truth and honesty. So if there is any transaction, there is any business dealing in which there is no honesty or there is no truth, some lies are involved, then of course it cannot be termed as Sharia based, because Sharia based means it should be based on justice, it should be based on mutual help, it should be based on truth, it should be based on honesty on the part of parties to contract, avoiding fraud, misrepresentation and misstatement of facts. These all things are not allowed. So basically, if you analyze the all the advertisements right now, whether it's on TV, whether it's on in newspapers, on YouTube, on social media, all or most of the advertisements are actually misrepresentations and misstatements or exaggeration or you know so from Islamic point of view, those kinds of advertisements are not allowed because they try to create some wrong impression in the minds of the consumers. Say for example, Axe जो वो स्प्रे क्या कहते हैं, बॉडी स्प्रे, Axe बॉडी स्प्रे, तो उसका ऐड होगा कि ऑफिस में आए, nobody is looking at that person, and then he took out the Axe body spray, and everybody is looking at him, and now he has become very popular, especially the opposite gender is coming to them. What this nonsense is? So this does not happen in real life. This is misrepresentation, this is misstatement, this misstatement of the facts, this is manipulation, this is not fact, this is not based on. So all these things should be avoided because this involves misrepresentation and misstatement of facts. And then exploitation and negation of injustice or exploitation provide grounds for valid contracts. So these all points are actually in addition to the 3 points that we have already discussed, riba, gharar, and maisir. And these are some universal, moral values: truth, honesty, mutual help, justice. So all these things are, it's not non-controversial things. Everybody says that justice should be there. Everybody says that free consent, mutual help, honesty. There should not be exploitation. There should not be misrepresentation of facts. So all these things should be there. So if something is missing in a particular contract, say for example, if the contract involves some lies or some hiding of facts, it involves some exploitation of some parties. So of course, it will not be valid from Sharia point of view. So justice and fair dealing, the foremost principle governing all economic activities is justice, which means fair dealing with all and keeping a balance. The Holy Quran says, and let not the enmity and hatred of others make you what. So I just want to make this point very clear that say this in verse 5:8. In matters of justice, everybody is equal. Justice is justice. वो हमारा अपना है, हमारा बेटा है, हमारा relative है. If he has done something wrong, he should be punished. He should not be given any fear. If wrong has been done to our enemy, who is an open enemy of our, and some wrong has been done to that person, so we have to give him justice. If we have to give him justice, our enmity and hatred or in matters of justice, everyone is equal. Nothing should come in delivering the justice to any person. Justice is justice, and let not enmity and hatred of others make you avoid justice. Be just. That is nearest to the piety. Piety means fear of God. Fear of God is known as piety. In Arabic, Urdu, the word is taqwa. This makes the point clear that whoever believes in God has to be just with everyone, even with enemies. Enemies, what is meant by enemies? Enemies is someone who openly declares his enmity, who openly declares his justice, his hatred towards us. Say, for example, so if somebody is openly declaring so himself to be enemy of someone, so even in that case, it does not exclude him from justice. We have to give him justice. If something wrong has been done to him, so the system should give him justice. Islam thus requires that the rights and obligations of any persons are neither greater nor lesser in any way than the rights and obligations of other people. Business rules are equally applicable to all. No one can take the property of others wrongfully. In his celebrated speech at the time of the last pilgrimage, last pilgrimage, our Prophet, peace be upon him, delivered an speech that is very famous. So one part of that speech actually deals with this, that तुम्हारी जान, तुम्हारा माल, तुम्हारी इज्जत सब दूसरे के लिए हराम है. I mean, you cannot do something wrong with other persons, body, their health, their property, and their reputation also, izzat. So all these things are sacred. We cannot harm other persons. So this is also one of the part of the Prophet, peace be upon him, speech that he delivered in the last pilgrimage. Hajjatul Weda कहते हैं उसको, Hajjatul Weda, because our Prophet performed, I think, 2 Hajjs during his lifetime, and the last one is known as Hajjatul Weda, where he delivered a speech in a very large gathering. Honesty, gentleness, truthfulness, care for others are the basic lessons taught to Muslims by the Sharia, with relatively more emphasis in respect of business transactions. So business is not separate from from prayer. This is the one basic concept that in Islam actually asks his followers to follow Islam in totality. So praying is not Islam. Islam deals with all aspects of life, including business. So if somebody is honest, somebody is praying, but he is not honest in business, he is not, he's cheating, the customers, or he is cheating his business partners. He cannot be a true Muslim. He cannot be a true Muslim. So honesty, truthfulness, and care for others are the basic lessons taught to Muslim by Sharia, with relatively more emphasis in respect of business transactions. Let me tell you very beautiful saying of our Prophet. That goes like this. उसका मतलब ये है कि जो सच्चा ताजिर होगा, ताजिर में businessman, truthful businessman, on the day of judgment he will come to the God along with the prophets. यानी उसका दर्जा, उसका लेवल, उसका स्टेचर इतना ऊंचा है एक ट्रूथफुल बिजनेसमैन का कि he will be come to the God along with the prophets. So such is the importance of truthfulness, especially in business, because in business, if we are not truthful, because if we are untruthful, then it sometimes it gives us more profit. Sometimes we think that if we will cheat, we will earn more. So there is, we sometimes we see immediate benefit out of cheating, out of dishonesty. So if we are resisting that thought, if we are resisting that thing, so that is a great thing. If we are honest and we are resisting from dishonesty. So the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, has said that truthful and honest merchant shall be with the prophets, the truthful and the martyrs on the day of resurrection. Day of resurrection is a concept in Islam. The day of judgment is a day of judgment, is the day of judgment in which justice will be meted out to everyone. Everybody who has done wrong will be punished, and everybody to whom some wrong has been made, I mean, it will be corrected, and justice will be meted out. So the day on which the justice will be meted out is known as day of Qiyamah ka din ya judgment ka din. So the emphasis is on honesty and speaking the truth and avoiding the sinful act of telling lies. So loans should be taken out only in case of severe personal or genuine business need. यानी झूठ के ऊपर कोई कहे कि मुझे झूठ बोल के लोन भी ले रहा है तो it is something wrong. Ghaban, similarly ghaban, which means misappropriation or defraud. Fraud fraud इसमें तो कोई confusion ही नहीं है. Fraud is, you know, wrong. Defrauding others in this, fraud ही को गबन कहते हैं. Arabic word for fraud is गबन. Defrauding others in respect of specifications of the goods and their prices. किसी goods में कोई कमी थी, उसको छुपा लिया, बताया नहीं और उसको सेम प्राइस पे बेच दिया. It's prohibited with the purpose of ensuring that the seller gives the commodity as per its known and apparent characteristics and charges the fair price. It is important to observe, however, that the nature of treatment in the institutional setup of business different from any individual to individual business relationship. If someone waives the debt payable, okay, we will continue talking about these business ethics and norms in the next class. And I will share these PPTs with you just after this class, this session.